the age of 25, I opened a restaurant called Bliss. It was at 44 Stanley. And I was in pursuit of my bliss, which is why I called it Bliss. It was self-funded, ups and downs, ran that for 2.5 years. And I got to a decision that I had to make to close it down. And as you can imagine, I had a team of 13 that I had to let go of, which means families were affected. And also just the fact that this was my mother's hard-earned money, and the shame and public failure, and just the views that society has around failure. So dealing with that. And I went through a moment, I guess not even a moment, 2 years of introspection really, because I thought I found my bliss. Now here's this failure. What now? What do I do with the rest of my life? And really for the last couple of years, I guess I've just been very open about my failure.
A company that we started, Spring Age, was bought by Deloitte. And the claim to fame about that is that when we did start this, it was not meant to be a company. My friend and I really met in high school when we were 15 years old. And 5.5 years ago when we got together, we just wanted to do something for our country. We just wanted to bring together young people who are inspirational, bring them into a space where they can come together, and we thought we could just do that. And we didn't know it was going to be a company. We just thought, creating a space, and that turned into something that we are so honored to have been part of.
Why Her Accelerator is a female-focused entrepreneurship accelerator program for early stage female entrepreneurs that are building businesses that positively impact on women and girls. And right now we've just launched this accelerator looking for 15 female entrepreneurs across the continent. Initially we had done it under the umbrella She by Spark, and it was sort of a test. And again, speaking to my previous point of female entrepreneurship stats show that there's not a lot of us venturing into this space, let alone social entrepreneurs, let alone ones that are building businesses that positively impact on women and girls. So it was a very niche concept, which meant that our pool was not as wide. And earlier this year, I co-created with a social enterprise organization in Australia to take this across the continent. So literally, I've been amazed in the last couple of months where we launched applications, I think, in May, and to date we have over 400 applications, literally from Cape to Cairo.
Wow.
And that for me says there's clearly hunger, there's clear need for this type of program. But I think I'm most excited about getting female entrepreneurs across the continent in one room. So what happens is we take them through a live-in week accelerator, very intense, where the idea really is to accelerate their early stage venture into somewhat of a sustainable business. We have mentors coming from across the world to come obviously assist and really make it women for women. Sorry, gents in the room. And at the end of the week, the women get to pitch their businesses, and there's $50,000 up for grabs to the women that can prove social impact and sustainability.
So as I've said to everyone, I started Spring Age with a very good friend of mine who we met when we were 15, and it was about what if we heard a stat about Africa having the youngest working population, and that we have so many young people on this continent. And I guess for us that was kind of scary to say, we have all these people, and what does it actually mean for our continent and for our country? And at the same time, there was a whole thing about young, clever people in our country leaving our country, going to start good businesses in Silicon Valley or somewhere else around the world. And we thought, what if we could create a space where we could bring together the brightest young people in our country, where they could come together and come up with ideas that could make a difference for our country. That's where we were. And at that time, we were looking at the National Development Plan of South Africa, and we thought we could come up with ideas for the National Development Plan and get young people to implement that. And I guess as an entrepreneur, you grow, you learn things that it's not always what you think it is. And we evolved because we realized that there was no way that we were going to help other people start businesses when we didn't even know how to start a business ourselves. So we investigated, and we then created a process called a spring break. And a spring break is a process where we bring together really dynamic young people to help corporates come up with new ideas based on a critical challenge that they have. So a corporate could be asking, maybe it's SAB, for example, they could be asking, how do we reduce irresponsible drinking? We will bring in the room young people who feel that they're connected to that challenge and who can gain something from being in that room as well. And that's how our recruitment process is very, very important. And then we'll run this process where people are coming up with insights and ideas for that challenge that's been asked. Our process, the Spring Break process, is one of the products that we have. We also, as I said, Deloitte bought our company last year, and when we went to Deloitte, it was incredible because they've got this millennial survey that they do every year. They've been doing it for the last 6 or 7 years. And one of the stats on that is that young people in the workplace are not engaged. And they're not engaged because they're feeling that their strengths and their talents are not being utilized effectively. And therefore, when young people are in corporate, they want to leave. You know, they've got one foot in and one foot out. So we thought, you know, what if we could create something that could help corporates engage young people much more effectively? And we created a millennial board where we now go to corporates and sell them this concept of putting young people in a board to advise a CEO and to help the CEO stay always on in an organization. Because young people are bold, they'll come up with bold, innovative ideas. They don't think the same ways as corporates do as well. So the Millennial Board is another product that we have. So I guess where we are right now as an organization is that we're a millennial insights and ideation business where we help corporates engage young people through the Mill Board, innovate with young people through the Spring Break, and get insights through the process that we run.
As entrepreneurs, we sort of want to be I know it all, or it's a fear of if I go ask for help, then you know does it take away from my skills, etc. And I was afraid to ask for help, because you know first of all, you're that 25-year-old that quit work to go start this business. Now you're coming around asking for help. So I now know that it takes away nothing from you to ask for help, and there are people who've walked the journey before you. So to be able to use their experience to help you on your trajectory is very powerful. I think the second lesson, which for me has been the most powerful, and I think my life story really, is just how whatever business that you start, in fact, whatever it is that you do, if it is not aligned with your highest self, if it is not aligned with your purpose, if it is not aligned with what your creator has brought you on this earth to do, you're almost always going to fail. Because what your purpose has been created long before when you were still an idea. And we come into this world and life takes over, and we're, I guess, attracted to whatever is exciting at that point, and we lose focus on what really purpose is. And a friend of mine, when I was running Bliss, said to me, Kaki, how does Bliss fit into your purpose? And I couldn't answer him. To me, it was like, that's a question for Oprah. Purpose is for Oprah. Like, he's just here, you know, existing. But the minute that I closed Bliss, that became the question that kept me awake. What is my bliss? You know, what is my purpose? And through that 2-year introspection, I realized that my bliss is seeing women thrive.
Is there someone that can give us that footprint in Africa and around the world? Yes, there is. Therefore, Deloitte made the perfect sense for us to be able to join with them and be able to still do our thing. So, and even now that I'm at Deloitte, I really don't feel like I'm a corporate person. I think one day I want to start something that's just going to help people about what to do when you get into corporate, because almost like I'm hired in corporate, but I'm still doing my own thing, and I think it's possible. But people just become like the machine and forget that the machine are people actually. And so I guess it's about having that passion, Mati, and just thinking about what is important to you, and then following that, and then you'll go in your direction, and your path will be open for you as you go along. But staying true to yourself, and finding the right people to be able to do it with.
I'm a huge advocate of social entrepreneurship. I'm a huge believer that it is through business that we'll be able to address some of the social, in fact, most of the social ills around the world. I think we can all agree that we look at all these NGO aid type organizations, and we pretty much are still sitting with the same social ills. And yet, you look at entrepreneurs who are coming up with amazing, innovative ideas to address some of these social ills, and are not being given the platform. So that's one. We're looking for social entrepreneurs, people who are driven by the ambition to address a social ill in their community, in their country. Females, because globally, I mean, I think we all talk about the gender gap, and it's really not just a fad. It's a movement that needs so many people backing it. Stats that say that, you know, an average, and this is globally, an average female male entrepreneur starts up with 4 times the startup capital that a female entrepreneur would get. And yet, when women are in business and really are independent, they contribute 90% of their income to their community and their families versus 40% that men do. So stats like that, where, I mean, there was a recent McKinsey report that showed some of the...
She's McKinsey.
That was published by the Harvard Review, where they're literally showing comparisons between if a startup male entrepreneur goes to a VC to go ask for funding versus when a woman does. And for example, you'll get a startup male and the response would be, okay, he's got potential. Whereas with the response with a female, like, is it something we're willing to risk on? So the gender gap for me is something that really needs to be addressed. And so with Why Her, we are looking at, in our own little way, trying to close the gender gap, but also trying to use entrepreneurship to address social ills. So we're looking for women who are playing in that space, who have amazing ideas, but are not necessarily given the platform to be able to bring those business ideas to life.